Noah Hanifin has been rumored to be on the move, and you got some teams interested in him. There's been some rumors that let's just talk about him. But before I get into this, I want to say a big thank you to all the new subscribers. And if you stumble upon this video, I appreciate if you drop a like, comment, and if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. Noah Hanifin would be a great addition for anybody in search of a good quality top four defenseman. And let's just go quickly into his stats, and then we'll kind of go into the contracts after that. In 61 games played, 11 goals, 24 assists for 35 points for a +13. Hanifin is exactly what some of these teams need. Battling for the playoff spot, or I should say in a playoff spot right now, trying to go in a deep playoff push. So who are the few teams that have been rumored? Now, Tampa Bay Lightning. They have been interested in Hanifin's services, especially with Sergachev going down. They do need a good top four defenseman. He would fill a need there nicely. It would just be trying to work out a deal and move some pieces to acquire a guy like Hanifin. So that's a team that could need it. There's also been the Florida Panthers that have been rumored to be interested in Hanifin's services. I would say in comparison to Tampa, I don't think Hanifin's as much of a need due to, I think, they are one of the best teams, if not in my personal opinion, the best team in the NHL. I think they have a good quality decor, and he would be more of a luxury. So you wouldn't want to keep giving up massive pieces. Maybe you could move a guy like Spencer Knight, who's currently down playing in the AHL, and give the Flames another goaltending option of the future, just in case, just kind of some insurance in case Wolf doesn't work out. But thirdly, I mean, the third team in that conversation, wearing their cap right now, would be the Boston Bruins. And the Bruins, with Lindholm going down, and let's just be fair, Lindholm didn't have a great season. He had really good stretches, then really rough stretches. The Bruins have been rumored and tied to Hanifin for a while. And the reason, I mean, he's from Boston, born in Boston, from the area. It'd be a hometown story. It'd be really cool to see, but do they have enough pieces to really make it work? And with a lot of these teams, they're kind of up against it with the cap. This is Noah Hanifin's last year in his current deal, where he's getting $4.95 million per year. And I think the Calgary Flames, if needed, could retain some salary to make a deal work. So if I'm looking at a team like Boston, you have to move a guy like Forbort, you have to move a guy like Grzelcyk, or a guy like Jake DeBrusk. So let me kind of go into the Boston Bruins conversation, because this is the team that I feel needs him the most desperately. I know Tampa, Sergachev goes down, you could argue, but I think with Boston, they really do need to have an addition on the back end, because they are relying on a lot of youth. When it comes to Boston, I'm not sure if they have enough horses unless they deal a significant piece on the roster right now. You know, do you trade another first-round pick and a guy like Fabian Lysell? Is that enough? Probably not. Hanifin's a proven top four NHL defender. For me, makes the most sense. You move a guy like Jake DeBrusk. But the problem with that is, while your defense gets better, and DeBrusk has had his issues in Boston, your offense then gets weaker because now he is departed. So are you really solving an issue? Are you making your team better, or is it more of a lateral move? Now, if I'm going to just consider just pure value alone, I think Hanifin's a more valuable defenseman than DeBrusk is a valuable forward. But I do have question marks. Will the Bruins have a viable enough secondary scoring to be a Stanley Cup contender? And I mean, even with DeBrusk, that is still a concern I have right now. So you could argue, pull the trigger, do it. Why not? I think Hanifin would be a nice piece for the Bruins to get if they don't give up too much. If they can make the cap work, if they don't give up another first-round pick, if they could move a guy like DeBrusk and Lysell, who seems to be putting up solid numbers in Providence, but there's been issues with his 200-foot game. Maybe that is somebody, maybe that could move the needle enough for Calgary, because Hanifin's not going to be most likely back with the Flames next season anyway, since he's a UFA. But I'd have to mention this. Jake DeBrusk has struggled in a Boston market. And Boston, ravenous fan base. We can really get on our players. Very passionate. It's very comparable to a Canadian market team. Now, I think it's worse in Canada because that is their main sport. That is, like, they don't have many professional teams. Like, I would say of the major 3-4 sports, they don't have really many major teams. So their local hockey team, their NHL team, is their whole soul. That's their soul of their body. They want that to be successful. And DeBrusk's always worried about his status in Boston. He seems to be very concerned about his future with the Bruins. Does he have the mental toughness to work in a Canadian market? That is something I can question. I think DeBrusk is one of these guys, if he was in a smaller market, less attention on him, he would be far more successful. I do think the attention and the pressure gets to him. Or maybe a fresh start in Calgary, even if it is in a passionate market. Maybe it's what he needs. He needs to get away from that first round stigma that a lot of Bruins fans have had kind of tied to him for many, many years. Maybe a fresh start is the best thing for him. And I mean, if he goes to Calgary, he's far closer to his dad, who, announces in Edmonton. So, I mean, that's a plus side. So what should the Bruins do? Should they acquire a guy like Hanifin? Should they make that addition? I mean, with Lindholm out, it does make sense to bring in a top 4 level defenseman, and then you're not relying as much on a Mason Lohrei to come in and give you big minutes. You can shield him a bit more. But I have been impressed with Lohrei. I mean, I know there's been those moments where it's like, damn, he's a rookie. But I think he's filled in really, really nicely. And if we're going to be honest, Lindholm, this season, I mean, it's not been his greatest. He's had some good stretches, but he's also had some really bad stretches as well. The only way a deal with the Bruins would make sense is if you move one out of these 3 players. DeBrusk, Grzelcyk, or Forbort. Now, Forbort, I like. He's a good PK specialist, but to be honest, taking him off. If you're the Flames, who are you more interested in? A guy like Grzelcyk or a guy like DeBrusk? And if I'm going to be honest with you, well, Grzelcyk had a great statistical year last year. He's just a little bit bigger version of Krug. He can be very difficult in defensive end. I would probably lean towards DeBrusk because when he's cooking, I'm not saying he's an all-star level forward, but he's just a tick below that when he's firing on all cylinders. So, for me, a sensible deal would have to probably be, if I'm looking from the Flames perspective, a guy like DeBrusk in return, a first-round pick, and a promising prospect, maybe a guy like Lysell. But as a Bruins fan, do you want them giving up another piece? And do you believe that Noah Hanifin does put you over the top? If you feel that way, yes, go get him. But for me personally, I'm not as sure. I mean, Hanifin is going to be a UFA at the end of this year. And do you really consider yourself a Stanley Cup contender? That's the honest-to-God question you can have now. Would you be better off waiting in free agency? Yeah, it wouldn't help bolster your roster now, but the Bruins are going to have a lot of cap flexibility to sign some guys, some really good players, if I'm being honest. But before I get out of here, I do want to say this. Thank you for everyone that has subscribed to this channel, who has shared this channel, liked, commented, even disagreed. It has been tremendous. Ladies and gentlemen, I am officially going back to the boats. It has been a long, long journey. A year and 8 months. Yeah. A year and 8 months of frustration, of aggravation. And after having the surgery last March, finally getting approved of the surgery, having a surgery in March, it's been about a year since the surgery, and I'm finally going back to the field, the job that I love. Hockey is my number one love, but working in the maritime ministry has been a dream of mine since I was a kid, following in my father's footsteps. And it just feels so nice to get back to normal. And the reason why I'm kind of announcing this is that the hockey videos will slow down a bit. Now, with this job, I still got to figure it out. Like I was told, you could be home maybe nightly. There's going to be some days you're going to be gone for multiple days. And, I work in an industry where you're gone half the year. So that's not that big of a deal to me. But I got to kind of show respect to my other, my other crewmates. my other shipmates, see kind of like what's okay, like quiet hours, and like what's okay to do, what's not okay to do. I don't want to be an inconsiderate prick and just start recording and being super loud and bombastic. So I want to show that level of respect. So I might do a video this upcoming week, or if I don't upload for a week, it's just due to me kind of feeling things out and figuring it out and seeing what can and cannot be done. And it turns out I'm not allowed, or people just don't want recordings, or I got to be super quiet because sometimes you'll go on these vessels and the cabin spaces between the walls, there's not much space. You can hear someone fart from the other room. We'll make something work. We will. Even if it's some in-person stuff, maybe it's finding the engine room, going in the engine room and figuring something out where there's noise suppressed. We'll find something out, but I don't want anyone to worry. I want to say if it's a week off, it's a week off. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm going to watch the Bruins-Oilers games tonight and try to figure out exactly what's going on. I'll have a little bit more information from there. But again, guys, thank you guys so much for being massive supporters of the channel. It has been a very trying year, over a year and a half, a year and 8 months at this point. And I'm just so excited to finally get back to doing what I love. So appreciate it. I'm Captain Paul for the Locker Room. You let me know down below, who do you want to get Noah Hanifin, or where do you believe he'll land? I'll see you in the next one.